M&T Bank Stadium, where the preseason begins tonight for the Baltimore Ravens against the Philadelphia Eagles. We head down to the field. Evan Washburn standing by as Lamar Jackson delighting the fans tonight. He won't delight them on the field, but Evan, the battle for his backup will be a major focal point tonight.
Yeah, Jerry, this is a position battle I don't think we were ready for, but John Harbaugh made it clear to us that this is very much an open competition. Now, Tyler Huntley, he's been the guy the last 2 seasons and has been capable on more than a few occasions to step in for Lamar, including in the playoffs on multiple occasions. Now, decision-making will be the decider in this battle, and Josh Johnson comes to Baltimore for his 3rd stint, signed in May. He's the ultimate journeyman. So these preseason games starting tonight will dictate what should be a critical spot behind Lamar. And remember, guys, the roster shakeup and the math will determine whether or not they're going to have 3 quarterbacks. Not often is the case that they carry 3. So these guys are truly battling for a job on this active 53 most likely.
And we will have 3 preseason games to watch it unfold as John Harbaugh will be putting an eye on whether or not his young players can translate what they've learned in the practice field the past 3 weeks into the first game experience tonight. For John Harbaugh, it is season number 16. He has seen this team go to the playoffs 10 times under his tutelage, and he is looking for number 11. Most playoff wins ever by a coach in his first 5 years. You say that to John and Rod, he could care less. He is all about this year.
Absolutely, but he's about winning championships. I mean, every coach should want that at the end of their resume, that each year that they're taking them to the postseason, but not only taking them to the postseason, but going very far into the postseason.
Philadelphia Eagles win the coin toss, so the Eagles will receive. You know it's preseason, by the way, when you win the coin toss and you receive. That's the dead giveaway. In the regular season, you win the coin toss, you almost never see the winning team take the ball right out of the gate. But that'll give Justin Tucker a chance to get things started. Ravens in their home purple jerseys and black helmets. The Eagles donning the road whites on a muggy, warm night in Baltimore. Game time temperatures right around 90 degrees at kickoff. Justin Tucker will be kicking to Trey Sermon. High and returnable as Sermon takes it at the 4. Brings it across the 15 and is knocked off his feet shy of the 20-yard line. All right, Ron, let's take a look at the Ravens' defensive goals here as we start preseason 2023.
I mean, if you look at them, you have to find the depth at the cornerback position. We know we got Marlon Humphreys. You got Rock. 2 players there. You bring in Mollett. The depth, though, with the young players, can they be those guys when the season starts on to get moving on? Pre-snap communications on all levels. That's what you want to see as a coach. You want to see how crisp they are with the defensive line, linebackers, and secondary. And at the end of the day, you want to make sure you stop the run.
Marcus Mariota will start at quarterback for Philadelphia. Throws quickly, complete. Across the 25. And a big hit applied by Malik Harrison. As the Eagles will pick up 8 on first down. Marcus Mariota got a lot of time on the Netflix series that took the year-long look behind the scenes. Patrick Mahomes was the star of the show, as he tends to be in the NFL, but it was very interesting to see just the amount of pressure and work an NFL quarterback faces.
On a consistent basis, there's more pressure on an NFL quarterback than any other position, especially in the National Football League, because everybody says that is the most important position that each team needs. And if you watch everybody who's winning the Super Bowls, who's winning the Super Bowls, the teams who have quarterbacks that are playing at a very high level.
DeAndre Swift moves the chains for the Eagles as Mike McDonald now in his 2nd season as the Ravens defensive coordinator. A year ago, Ravens defense 3rd best in the NFL in points allowed, top 10 defense in yards. This year he has 2 young athletic edge rushers, and Odafe Owe and David Ajabo. Mariota to throw. Blitz pressure coming. Mariota is tripped up and taken down by Malik Harrison, who drops him back inside the 20-yard line.
It's a great job, great call by Coach McDonald, bringing that pressure from the inside. You're thinking outside pressure because you got those two big guys on the outside. But when you have players that can make plays inside, get skinny, as we like to say, through the offensive line to get to that quarterback, which is the easiest way, that's when you know you're having a good defense.
And it will back the Eagles into a 2nd and 19. Mike McDonald shows early aggression in preseason. Mariota's pass complete for a short gain to the 25. And spun down with the catch is Jack Stoll. And again, Malik Harrison, who is all over the field, now in his 4th season out of Ohio State. He's part of a linebacking group that is rock solid up front with Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen. And sometimes when you have that kind of talent in front of you, you can get lost. But Malik Harrison trying to make sure he doesn't get lost in the numbers shuffle.
But you could also learn from a guy like Roquan Smith who can play at a very high level.
Trying to get the Eagles offense off the field here on 3rd down and 13 on the opening drive of preseason. Mariota flush from the pocket. He wants to run. Crosses the 35 and lunges for a 1st down at the 40-yard line. Marcus Mariota saw the pass play breaking down early and uses his legs to keep the Eagles offense on the field. Preseason or not, Mike McDonald is not going to be happy to see his team give up a 3rd and 13 conversion.
Who's your edge rusher? Your edge rusher cannot spin back inside and give up the edge to the quarterback and let him get outside and to extend the play and make a 1st down with his feet.
DeAndre Swift bounces to the outside, and he's got room across midfield all the way down to the Ravens' 40-yard line before he is taken down by Ardarius Washington as the Eagles start to put together some chunk plays on their opening drive. A 22-yard gain.
Yeah, just the inside zone run. You got to make the play. You got to stay on your feet. You can't lunge at the running back. You got to bring your feet with you. And as you do that as a defensive back, now you can make the tackle in space.
Ball at the Ravens 39. Rashad Penny in the backfield with Marcus Mariota. Mariota keeps it off the play fake, and it is dropped at the 30-yard line. Good coverage on the play by Jaquan Amos, rookie free agent, trying to make a mark in the secondary. The secondary is also an area where there are some questions in terms of corner. Obviously, Marlon Humphrey is a lockdown Pro Bowler. They brought in Rock Yassin in the offseason. He's been bothered by some soft tissue injuries. And then as you look to the depth, I think that's one of the big questions John Harbaugh would like to see answered in preseason.
Well, absolutely, especially these young corners out there getting more reps, getting more comfortable, and showing that they can play in the National Football League at a high level.
Mariota to throw. He's got a man, misses him at the 20-yard line. Mariota had Grant Calcaterra open on the crossing route, and that puts Philly into a 3rd down and 10.
He was open. He was running kind of like we call a deep over route as a tight end position. But you had 2 linebackers in front of him. So he had to try to dump it in between the linebackers, in between the safeties. It's a hard throw at times for a quarterback.
One of the reasons that Marcus Mariota is looking at a backup spot.
It is.
It's the difference
Tremendous
between the guys who
athlete.
start. Yeah.
Absolutely.
3rd down and 10. Eagles have it at the Ravens' 38-yard line. Mariota complete to the 30 and just shy of the 1st down. Taken down with the ball is Tyree Cleveland. The Eagles will have a 4th and 1. No hesitation, and Nick Sirianni, the head coach, he's got the offense going for it. No huddle. Penny in the backfield. Mariota keeps it. He goes around the left edge and lunges forward for a 1st down into the arms of Jaquan Amos. But again, the Eagles move the chains.
That's just a zone read, reading the edge rusher. As he puts it into the belly of the running back, you see Malik Harris crash down, and once he crashes down, he pulls that ball back out of the belly of the running back for easy 1st down.
1st and 10 Philly. Ball is at the Ravens 27. 10 minutes even to play in the opening quarter. This is the opening drive of the preseason. Mariota with time, and he sails that one incomplete. Looked like his target may have lost his footing. And you can't blame the field this early in the season. The field is absolutely pristine. It's World Cup soccer caliber grass right now.
It's gorgeous out there right now.
I'm not a golfer, but I was tempted to putt. It is that perfect a yard. But if you punch a hole in this field so you can putt, you might get in trouble. 2nd down and 10 for the Eagles. Ball is at the Ravens 27. Mariota hands it off. Rashad Penny, not much there. John Harbaugh talking with us this week about the importance of a stout interior defensive line. He saw that on that play, but this was a foundational building block for 28 years in this organization.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows how good the edge rushers are with Baltimore. But they know Michael Pierce, they know Travis Jones. They have to play elite football if they want to get to the next level.
John Harbaugh has watched the Eagles convert on a few 3rd downs. He wants a stop here. Play clock is down to 1, and the Eagles take a timeout to avoid a delay of game penalty.
First charge timeout.
9:07 to play in the opening quarter. Scoreless on the Ravens Game Day Network.
Ravens preseason football is brought to you by Constellation, the Baltimore Ravens official clean energy provider. By DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the Baltimore Ravens. By M&T Bank, the official bank of your Baltimore Ravens. And by MedStar Health, the official medical team of the Baltimore Ravens and you. MedStar Health, it's how we treat people.
Eagles coming up on the 13th play of their opening drive. They've had the ball for all 5 minutes and 53 seconds in this first quarter of the preseason. Malik Harrison and the defense trying to put the brakes on Marcus Mariota and the Eagles offense. Philadelphia has converted on a 3rd and 13. Eagles looking at a 3rd and 10.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity for this defense to show some resolve. You let them move down the field. 3rd and 10. Let's stiffen up.
4th round pick Tavius Robinson has checked in at the left defensive end. Mariota pointing out some adjustments to his line. On 3rd down and 10. Mariota to the far sideline. It sails incomplete. Good coverage on the play by Kevon Seymour, a player who has earned his stripes as a member of this team for the past couple of years and has had a strong training camp, but he showed great press coverage there.
Great poise at the top of the route, not getting too handsy because they will call holding on these corners.
But a 45-yard field goal attempt coming up for Jake Elliott. This season, when an opponent misses a field goal, you get a free 6-piece McNuggets on the McDonald's app the next day. Opponents miss another field goal, you're upgraded to a free 10-piece. Jake Elliott from 45. Kick on the way. It is long enough, and it is good. And Philadelphia strikes first. 8:58 to play in the opening quarter in Baltimore. Ravens offense warming up on the Ravens Game Day Network. Caps the opening drive with a 45-yard field goal and leads it in the early going 3-0 in the preseason opener. Now we will get a chance to get the first look, Rod, at this Todd Monken offense. What are the goals for week 1 in this new offense for the Ravens?
You want to communicate with the run game and execution. That's the one thing that's hard to simulate when you're in practice because you can't cut, you don't want to pick your guys down to the ground. So you got to make sure you're getting that going early in this preseason. Then you got to think, who's going to be my left guard? Is it going to be Simpson? Is it going to be Salah? Which guys are going to be for this football team? And then who's going to be the 3rd running back? I would believe that J.K. is coming back. He will come in. We know Gus is there. But is it going to be Gordon? Is it going to be Hill? Which one of those guys are going to step up to the forefront, take some of that load off?
Melvin Gordon, the former Denver Bronco, by way of the Kansas City Chiefs, picked up early camp by the Ravens. Similar body to, I'm would say more like Gus than J.K.
Yes.
If you think of Latavius Murray, who the Ravens had a few years ago, very similar running style to Latavius Murray, we expect to see a good deal of Melvin Gordon this preseason. It will be Keaton Mitchell with the return from the goal line. The rookie out of East Carolina looks for a gap at the 20-yard line, breaks free across the 25 to the 30. And Keaton Mitchell, who has been electric in camp, gets a chance to delight the home crowd.
You said he's quick in space.
He has shown so much of a knack for finding the opening, whether that's in the passing game, whether it's in the running game, and now we see it in special teams. And it will be Josh Johnson getting the start tonight. 37-year-old veteran. Play action on first down, but a flag out of the gate as the Ravens are whistled for a false start.
False start. Offense number 4. Flag penalty. First down.
The career of Josh Johnson is unlike any we have ever seen in the NFL. He has been a member of 14 NFL teams, the most by any player ever in this league. He's played in the UFL, the AAF, and the XFL. Started his career in college playing for Jim Harbaugh, and here he is at 37 playing for John Harbaugh. And he's trying to win that backup quarterback spot. A little swing pass to Zay Flowers, sidesteps the tackler, but is taken down for a short gain. The Quicks avoided a loss on the play, and Rod, that quickness is one of the things that attracted the Ravens immediately when they started to scout Zay Flowers.
Making the first guy miss in space. That's what you want to see as a coach. You want to see them make that first guy miss, like right there, and you want him to get vertical. He has really good feet. He would be scary to tackle in open space.
The other thing I liked is the way he covered the ball. Ball protection when he knew he was going to get hit. In training camp, you don't hit like you did when you were playing.
No, it is completely different, so you have to protect the ball when you're out there.
Josh Johnson, back shoulder catch made by Isaiah Likely, and that'll get the Ravens back to a 3rd down and 10, back to the original line of scrimmage. Isaiah Likely really flashed last year as a rookie.
Yeah, he's mature,
reliable target,
plays, great hands, knowledgeable over his years.
36 catches, 3 touchdowns a year ago. See if Josh Johnson can convert on 3rd down and 10 on the Ravens' first possession. Under duress, said he has to get rid of the ball, incomplete, and the punt team will come on.
Number 13 was an eligible receiver in the area. No intentional grounding. 4th down.
Jordan Stout will have his first punt of the offseason, of the new season rather.
And that might be the only downside to Josh Johnson playing over the other young quarterbacks for the Ravens, who he's not as mobile because he is older. He does have better experience of being in the pocket and seeing defenses, but the athletic ability is not as what these young guys have.
Jordan Stout, deep end over end kick. Greg Ward will field it inside the 20. And Ward is taken down just shy of the 25-yard line as Brandon Stevens makes the first special teams tackle for the punt team. 3-0 Philadelphia in front. 7.5 minutes to play in the opening quarter of the Ravens Game Day Network. Visit BaltimoreRavens.com to enter for a chance to become the Southwest Airlines Captain of the Game. You could win tickets to a 2023 Ravens home game, custom jersey, Southwest Airlines Rapid Rewards bonus points, and much more. 3-0 Philadelphia in front of John Harbaugh's Ravens. 7.5 minutes to play in the opening frame. Rob, for John Harbaugh and Mike McDonald, this is a chance to see young players that they've been impressed with in training camp, how well they can translate to game situations.
It is, and you go back to that first series, Ajabo rushing off the edge. He spun back inside. He gave the edge to the quarterback. Those type of things the coach wants you to get rid of once the regular season starts.
Marcus Mariota remains at the helm. Rashad Penny will carry on first down. Big hole. He's across the 30 to the 34, and he'll pick up 9 on first down. Before Delshon Phillips and David Ajabo can make the stop.
Yeah, that's just the zone read. He's reading the Ajabo on the outside. Ajabo stays outside. He gives it to the running back for a nice pickup.
They'll mark it a 10-yard gain and an Eagles first down. Philadelphia put together a 14-play drive to start this game. Here on their second possession, swing pass out of the left side, and another 9-yard gain as Greg Ward puts the ball at the 43-yard line.
They just ran a little bunch route, got to the flat. Can't get out leveraged if you're a defensive back on the back end. You got to take that guy to the flat to make it easier when you're coverage.
David Ajabo at left end. Tavius Robinson, the 4th-round pick, at the right end for the Ravens defense. Mariota pumps once, throws complete. Ward has a first down catch at the 47-yard line. The one thing the early preseason does for a coaching staff is it gives them a chance to see how their players handle adversity. This is not going great for John Harbaugh and Mike McDonald's defense. So they want to see, can players make adjustments on the fly to tighten things up.
And this is really the first time they're being really physical. I mean, taking guys to the ground, and guys are coming after them really full speed and trying to get them pushed back.
Physicality is just not a huge part of NFL training camps anymore. Concerns for injuries and head trauma. Mariota flushed from the pocket. He's got some room to run, crosses midfield, and steps out of bounds untouched at the Ravens' 46-yard line.
But again, that time it was Robinson who was on the right side. He dips inside and gives the edge to Mariota. Those type of things are going to be talked about. These are young players. They're doing things they probably got away with in college that you're not going to get away with in the National Football League.
And as young players learning that sheer aggressiveness will sometimes get you in trouble.
It definitely can. If you go inside, you have to make the play. If you allow the quarterback to get out of the pocket and extend the play, that's your fault.
On 2nd and 3, Penny will carry, this time stopped for no gain. We head down to the field, and Evan Washburn.
And guys, just to follow up field level here, talking about this young defensive line and these edge rushers, there's no better test right now that you get in the preseason outside of Jalen Hurts, who's no shot going to play in this game, than Marcus Mariota, because again, as you sit behind him right now, he tests all your rules, all your eye discipline, because this is a former top pick starter in this league, and he's still got that juice. So it's not only reading your keys, but man, he when he gets in the open field, he can still let it loose.
You nailed that one, Evan. Mariota on 3rd down, working from the gun. Ravens bring blitz pressure. Mariota across the middle. He's got his man at the 33-yard line, and Ward picks up another first down for Philadelphia. A 14-yard gain, and once again Philadelphia converting on a 3rd and long.
Yeah, deep in cut gets Stevenson, and once you're inside leverage, you can't let the guy cross your face that easy for the completion.
That holds for inside linebackers and safeties.
Absolutely.
1st and 10 Philly. 3:40 left to play in the opening quarter. Penny gets the carry, bounces to the outside, but he'll be corralled and stopped at the 30-yard line after a pickup of 3. Jeremiah Moon spent a lot of time on the practice squad a year ago. Former Florida Gator, tremendous athletic ability. Trying to see if he can't play his way onto the opening day roster this year.
And Evan made a really good point that Mariota is one of those quarterbacks that's going to challenge your rules as a defense. He's going to break down some of the systems on your edge rushers, but you have to be disciplined enough to do your job.
Mariota from the gun. Ravens again blitz pressure. Mariota completes down to the 25-yard line. Just shy of a first down is Grant Calcaterra. And the Eagles will face a 3rd down and short. Philly has converted on 2 of its 4 3rd down opportunities, but the Eagles have already gone for it and converted once on 4th down.
And if you think if they don't get this in 3rd and 1, 3rd and inches, they will go for it on 4th down.
Rashad Penny, the back. And the Eagles jump the gun.
Full start. Offense, number 78. 5-yard penalty. First down.
The veteran John Hussey, our referee, preseason for all of us in the booth, on the field, and with the white hat, he started to point one way and realized it was the other. It takes a hot minute to get back up to speed.
But that pre-snap penalty drives coaches crazy, especially in this, and that's what this preseason's for, is to get all those little kinks out, all those emotions and that energy that you want to get on to the opposing team. You want to get on the color, opposing color. Makes you slow that all down.
3rd down and 6 for Mariota. And another flag. This could be delay of game on Philly.
Delay of game, offense. Flag out penalty. 4th down.
And this is where mental mistakes, to your point, drive coaches nuts, because the Eagles had it 3rd and 1, 4-down territory for Nick Sirianni. And now you're looking at 3rd down and 11. It is not 4-down territory.
Yeah, Mariota has to understand. He has to look at that play clock. It's down to 16 seconds already. Same thing happened to him in the last snap.
Janice Penny in the backfield. Mariota in the gun. 3rd down and 11. Pocket collapsing. Mariota escapes and is drilled inside the 30-yard line. Brandon Stevens will stop him far shy of the 1st down. And the Eagles will bring Jake Elliott on for a 2nd field goal try tonight. That time the Ravens' young edge rushers, Tavius Robinson and David Ojabo, did a really good job of holding their lane, but still you see the athleticism of Marcus Mariota. He made something out of nothing.
Stepping up into the lane, up into the pocket, getting back out, trying to make a play with his feet. But making them reset helps the back end for this Baltimore Ravens defense.
46-yard field goal try for Jake Elliott. It has the distance, but it sails wide to the right, no good. And that missed field goal means you get free 6-piece McNuggets with a minimum $1 purchase on the McDonald's app tomorrow.
Just pulling a kid out of the stands and have a little fun. Come on, want to play a little catch?
What's up, Lewin? You straight?
Young man's named Maverick.
What's up, Maverick? How you doing?
Maverick.
Show me around.
Todd Monken making some dreams come true. Maverick will remember that moment forever, meeting Lamar Jackson. Todd Monken, a veteran of the coaching game in his 35th year, understands how important those magical moments are, not just for the fans, but for the players to remain in touch with the fans.
It is, and it's really neat to see how Todd has brought that tradition here with the Ravens and making these kids have that moment with Lamar, but for Todd and Lamar to kind of bond with that little moment, because as they go out on the field, they're making little comments to each other, they're talking, they're feeling each other out, they're learning who they really are, and that's going to help them down the road.
Josh Johnson remains at quarterback for the Ravens, who have the ball for a 2nd time. The drive starts at their 36-yard line, following the missed Eagles field goal. Justice Hill will carry, sports his way across the 40-yard line to the 41. It's a different running style with this new offense. It's no longer the power, the trap, the lead. It's more of the zone style of blocking up front.
Yeah, you know, when you are in a single back, it's only so many things you can do. Now, we know that Greg Roman always got into some type of power running game with this offense, but now they're going to rely on the zone blocking, and now this is going to be a one-cut guy as a running back. If you can get vertical, it's going to really cause some damage to the defense.
Josh Johnson's pass intended for the rookie Zay Flowers, but a flag is down. It was covered by Josh Joby. And the Ravens are going to get a 1st down on interference here.
Illegal use of the hands in the face. Defense, number 28. That 5-yard penalty is, of course, from the previous spot. Automatic, 1st down.
Well, how do you slow a guy down that's really quick? Hit him in the face. I mean, that's what you try to do to slow him down.
Well, the other thing, too, we talked about, Zay Flowers isn't a real tall player. A tall player, you hit him in the chest. Same motion, you're hitting a kid in the face.
It is a little different when you play somebody a little bit smaller, but it's your job as a defensive back to get your hands in the right spot.
Penalty gives the Ravens a fresh set of downs at their 47-yard line. Justice Hill looking for an opening, bounces to the outside. He's got room. He's got Josh Johnson leading the block. Hill down the sideline, 20, 15, and he's pushed out of bounds there. Well, Josh Johnson showed some leg speed there as he led the blocking for Justice Hill on the ad-lib run.
I mean, they're running that counter. There's nothing to the left side, so he just cuts it all the way back. Yeah, Josh Johnson, he got in the way. He didn't make a big hit, but he did get in the way.
In the first quarter.
And that brings us to the end of the first quarter with a 37-yard run by Justice Hill, led by Josh Johnson. 1 quarter in the books. The Eagles with the only score so far, a 46-yard field goal. But the Ravens on the move as they hope to find the board in the second quarter on the Ravens Game Day Network. Run for Justice Hill closed out the first quarter, and now we take a look at the potential mix of styles in this backfield. You know, you're going to have J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards as the lead back, but Rob, there's a lot of different options when you look at J.K. down with Justice Hill, Melvin Gordon. This is going to be decision time for Todd Monken and John Harbaugh.
Yeah, that's why I said that third running back. You know, who's going to be that guy? Is it going to be Hill? Is it going to be Gordon?
Josh Johnson's pass in the end zone incomplete, but a penalty flag down on the ball targeted for Zay Flowers.
Which one of those guys, once the season starts, is going to take some of the bulk runs away from the other two guys?
Holding. Defense number 30. 5-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
So that moves the Ravens deeper in the Grill Mates red zone. Ball now just outside the 11-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10. As we start in the second quarter. Josh Johnson with Zay Flowers to the right. He'll give it to Justice Hill. He's got room. Jukes a man. Cuts it to the 5 and takes a big hit there.
I like they motion Zay Flowers inside or to the edge. He got a block to allow Justice Hill to get outside. Those are the type of runs we're going to see throughout this whole year.
Isaiah Likely, the second
Zay's right there.
And Zay. Two Zays. Double Zay.
I'm talking about number 4. Number 4 coming back inside, making that block. He's not the biggest guy, but he's going to throw his body out there for you.
Josh Johnson out of the shotgun. On 2nd and 5. Johnson backpedaling, extending. And he'll step out of bounds with nowhere to deliver the ball. Now, that looks like a nothing play, but it's what Todd Monken wants to see and John Harbaugh wants to see. Don't force a ball in the red zone, in the end zone, and kill a drive.
Be smart. Be smart with the football as you're going down. You're extending the play. Don't force the ball into tight coverage and get the ball intercepted.
But when you've been around as long as Josh Johnson, you know what the coaches are looking for. You want points, but you want to keep possession of the ball to get the points. Blitz pressure coming. Johnson fires end zone. Touchdown Ravens. Devin Duvernay. And the Ravens have their first lead of the preseason.
Nice back shoulder throw. Devin Duvernay gives a nice little step off the line. Got into the end zone. As soon as he got into the end zone, he saw that back shoulder, that ball coming to the backside number. Easy throw and catch.
Josh Johnson delivers. And Justin Tucker on for the extra point try.
When the quarterback sees the corner on top of the receiver in the end zone, they throw the back shoulder. When they see him on the low hip, they throw to the high back end zone.
5-play scoring drive, 64 yards. Justin Tucker's extra point try is good as we take another look at the Josh Johnson touchdown strike. That puts the Ravens in front 7-3 in the first preseason game of the year on the Ravens Game Day Network. Ravens lead the Philadelphia Eagles with 13.5 minutes to play in the second quarter. The Geico scoring drive. Ravens 5 plays, 64 yards in just under 2.5 minutes. It's Devin Duvernay with the first touchdown reception of the preseason as he christens Todd Monken's offense in the end zone. And this season, every touchdown scored by the Ravens, Baltimore area Toyota dealers donate $500 to Kennedy Krieger. So that's another $500 for Kennedy Krieger from Toyota. Justin Tucker will be kicking it off. He'll hop it to the goal line. Turn across the 20 to the 26-yard line. Ravens fans, we invite you to swing into the season at the Ravens annual Countdown to Kickoff concert and watch party presented by Miller Lite, Thursday, September 7th at Power Plant Live. Enjoy a live music performance by the All-American Rejects. Watch the opening game of the NFL season. Tickets just $15. You can buy yours today at BaltimoreRavens.com/CTK and start your season with a flock party. And the flock is out in full feather tonight. 90 degrees or not. Bring the wig, bring the beads. New quarterback in for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he throws a strike to midfield as Tanner McKee connects with Tyree Cleveland and moves the ball immediately to the Ravens' 47-yard line.
Yeah, good Swan. He had inside leverage on that seam route. And all they do is run away from you the whole time. And you're thinking you're in great coverage, but they just keep moving the ball away from you, and it's an easier catch for the receiving core.
And this time, McKee's pass is batted down at the line as Brent Urban.
He's been doing that for quite a while. He understands how to get your hands up. If you're not getting to the quarterback when he gets the ball in a throwing motion, just get your hands up, try to get those tips and overthrows.
6'7" native of Canada. Grew up playing hockey. Can you imagine a guy that big coming at you on skates?
Well, I just can't imagine he was that big when he played hockey. If he was.
It's a good reason to stop playing hockey. Penny will carry on first down and is spun down inside the 45-yard line.
But can you imagine somebody that big on skates?
I mean, that makes like 7 feet tall.
He would be an enforcer. I mean, that's an enforcer right there in hockey.
You're like a 5-foot kid on the other team, and you show up and you're yeah. Go check that guy.
Mom, I quit.
I'm handing my pads in. I'm going to art school. 3rd down and 6 for the Eagles at the Ravens 43. We approach 12.5 minutes left in the opening quarter. Pass is complete to the 35-yard line. That is good for a first down. As Tyree Cleveland reels in another catch from Tanner McKee, this time for 8 yards.
But this is where the backups are going to get evaluated and how they're going to play, their leverage, using their understanding of the defense and where their help is coming from. They got to make sure they're doing everything in the right progression for these coaches to trust them and put them back on the field.
Tanner McKee out of the gun, wants to throw again, comes to the near sideline, and it is caught but not held onto as Cleveland tumbled to the turf and could not retain possession. Kevon Seymour had the coverage. Even if Cleveland holds on to that, Seymour does a good job of getting out of bounds. It would not have been a completion.
Yeah, that's a great job just fighting with him through the ground, and his hand starts to hit the ball comes out when he hits the ground.
Eagles looking at a 2nd and 10. It's Kyle Hamilton wearing a white shirt but thinks it's a white hat. He makes the call. Penny looking for a gap, taken down to the 31-yard line. It will be 3rd down there for the Eagles. For so many of the starters, it's a night off after you get in your pregame warm-up. All the players get a day off tomorrow before returning to training camp on Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday, joint practices with the Washington Commanders.
And Robinson comes back in, and I know that Harbaugh said he's very physical, has heavy hands. He's one of the guys they want to see him play in the preseason.
Eagles 3 of 6 on 3rd down conversions, and they will be 3 of 7 now as Tanner McKee's pass sails high and incomplete. And Jake Elliott will attempt a 3rd field goal try in the opening half.
I mean, John Harbaugh loves this. I mean, so many special teams, plays out there already. That's his background. He likes seeing these guys getting opportunities. He really likes seeing these guys who want to be on special teams to make the team.
49-yard try for Jake Elliott. He missed from 46. This one has the distance, and he squeezes it inside the upright. It is good. 11:19 to play. First half in Baltimore. The preseason opener. Ravens 7, Eagles 6 on the Ravens Game Day Network. Lead with under 11.5 minutes to play in the opening half. We've had a long look at David Ojabo. I want to head down to the field and check in with Evan Washburn. Evan, what have you seen from field level with Ojabo's debut in the preseason?
Well, the words that come to mind: intensity, violence, and you've seen that he's overcommitted at times and gotten out of position. But guys, I'm struck by a conversation I had with him on draft night. He was part of the Ravens event here at the stadium. And we were talking about his journey, where he was before the injury, then that Achilles injury, and then the fight back. And I don't think it was discussed enough just how remarkable it was that he was able to return last year. But this is a guy that carries himself with a swagger and confidence that you don't see from someone who's been through what he's been through physically. Now it's about putting it together. And gee, you've seen it on the field, Rod, over the course of training camp. He seems to be one of those guys that's ready to break out.
Rod, the mistakes that Ojabo's made tonight have been over aggressiveness. I don't think that's a bad thing for a young player.
It's not a bad thing.
I mean, you'd rather have that than the opposite,
yes,
right?
You don't want to have to say sick them every single time to your players, because you want those guys to be aggressive. You want the guys to try to make plays, but you want them to be smart inside of your system and understand when they can and cannot. Another great thing for Ojabo is that he has a smash rush specialist that they moved in to help them at the position.
Chuck Smith, yep.
So Chuck is helping him understand when to do things, when not to do things, in the side of the defense, what plays you, or what type of adjustments you can make inside of the system, and that's going to help him in the long run.
Keaton Mitchell learned there, maybe don't return the ball 2 yards deep out of the end zone as he backs the Ravens up at their 17-yard line. Josh Johnson remains at quarterback, likely going to run the entire way. And Gus Edwards getting a snap in the backfield. Josh Johnson throws, but it's not going to net much as Isaiah Likely is swarmed for a loss back to the 14-yard line. He'll lose 3 on the play.
Yeah, they try to do a tight end screen, and the Philadelphia Eagles defense sniffed that one out really quick.
So Isaiah Likely will come out. Charlie Kolar will check in. Charlie Kolar only played in 1 game last year. He was essentially a red shirt because of a sports hernia injury he suffered early in training camp, but he has flashed consistently in camp this year. That's Kolar in motion on 2nd down and 13. Josh Johnson rips one way too high. But he was looking for Laquan Treadwell.
And I think we might have a dilemma, though, because there's 2 Zays.
Yeah, Isaiah Likely, the players call Zay. Zay Flowers, obviously people call Zay.
So what are we going to call these? Are we going to both say, we're going to say, like we were talking earlier, I said Zay, you thought I was talking about Isaiah Likely.
Exactly.
I was talking about Zay Flowers.
So Lamar calls Flowers joystick. You have to hope that
Okay, joystick.
But joystick's a lot longer than Zay.
It is. Well, you had the human joystick back in the day. Yeah, the human joystick was a Kansas City. I can't remember the name of the returner.
The bus on 3rd down and long almost busts it open. It gets out to the 25-yard line as Gus Edwards sets up a 4th down and short. But Jordan Stout will come on to punt the ball away with 10:14 left in the opening half.
It's good to get those reps in for players just to get hit and get tackled to the ground. Getting the feel for tackle football once again.
Stout's first punt in the opening quarter, a 52-yard boomer. Hangs a high wobbler. Ward lets it bounce. It will take a Ravens bounce before Ward grabs it at the 25 and scampers out of bounds. So 2 more preseason games, and it's all to get this team ready for September when they kick off at home against the Houston Texans. The Texans with a rookie head coach in D'Amico Ryans and a rookie quarterback in C.J. Stroud. And then it gets real in a hurry as the Ravens travel to Cincinnati. The question there is Joe Burrow ready for that game or not?
That's the question.
Week 3, it's Indianapolis again, a rookie head coach, former Eagles coach, and a rookie quarterback, Anthony Richardson. Those are very favorable for the Ravens, and then they dive into the division again for a 2nd time in 4 weeks as you go to Cleveland.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're 4-0 in that stretch. I mean, this is a good football team. They got talent across the board, offense and defense, especially up front. And John Harbaugh said it best. It starts with this football team in the trenches. Offensive line, defensive line. If they play well, this football team will play well.
Offensive line coach Joe D'Alessandris, one of the really good offensive line coaches in the NFL. He has done a tremendous job in his years with the Ravens developing young talent. You've seen first-round picks to sixth-round picks find a home, and so much of it is the tutelage of Joe D'Alessandris. On second down, a short gain for the Eagles will set up third down as Del'Shawn Phillips, a veteran inside linebacker who found a home on this roster last year with special teams. For guys who are career special teamers, preseason is crucial because it's the only time you really get to keep your position skills sharp.
Absolutely. And for this football team, you have to be good at special teams. John Harbaugh makes that a statement from day one. If you can't play special teams, you cannot be a Baltimore Raven.
Ravens start every practice with special teams. On third down, the pass is caught, but backtracks shy perhaps of the first down. Joseph Nada came down with the reception from McKee.
They're going to go for it?
They're going to give him the first down, but if you look at the play, after he caught it, he, under his own power, went backwards. That should not have been marked as a first down. If this is the regular season, we're having a fit.
I think John Harbaugh would challenge that.
In the preseason, they move the chains and nobody gets high blood pressure. Tanner McKee will hand it off. Penny tries to sweep to the right side. Weasels his way through a crack and gets 9 yards on a play where he should have been stopped for no gain. Those are the things that Mike McDonald will go back to the tape room and share with his young players, like Rashad Nichols, that when you stretch out a play like that, you got to finish it.
Yeah, you stretch the play out, but it's the edge rusher. Whoever the edge is, he has to set the edge. He can't keep widening the hole, making the job harder for the linebackers to keep running outside. They have to be able to set that edge, and once they set the edge, it'll be easier for the backers to come in and scrape it up and make a play.
Tanner McKee looking at a second down and 1. He wants to throw. Has time, going deep near sideline. It is caught at the 23-yard line. Cleveland comes down with the catch. A penalty flag down, and the preliminary signal is interference. The question is, which way will it go?
Yeah, it's going to go against offense.
It's going to be on Philly. John Hussey, a referee, getting the call from his crew.
Pass interference offense is 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Second.
So good coverage by Kevon Seymour as we head down to the field. Evan Washburn standing by with number 8, Lamar Jackson. Evan.
Jerry, thanks. Lamar, great to see you. Congrats on a new season. So much to get into, but I want to talk about this offense and all the change of the offseason. What excites you most about what you're building?
Just being around great guys like OBJ, you know, Zay, my guy Bate coming back, Duve, Pro, you know, Mark himself, Isaiah Likely, the whole offense, and then the new addition, Coach Monkey. I'm just excited to be in the new offense. That's all.
With Todd's direction, what do you hope this offense looks like?
Man, a lot of explosive plays, a lot more points on the board. You know, when Giro was here, we still was scoring a lot of points, but, you know, with the new coach, you know, same thing, you know, but even more. That's the only thing I can hope for this season.
Let's run through some of the new pieces and start with Odell. I mean, he comes in with such a reputation as a playmaker, as a guy throwing the ball. How does he change things for you?
He made my job a lot easier, you know, just put it anywhere in his perimeter, he gonna make something happen. You know, put the ball anywhere in his perimeter, he gonna make something happen. It's like throwing an alley hoop and Odell just finishing with the dunk.
And Zay's a guy you've known for a while, but now seeing him on a pro field, what do you think we should expect from him this year?
Like I said earlier, a lot of explosive plays. Zay is a playmaker. Even though he's a rookie, he played like a vet. You know, we've seen it a lot in practice, and the sky's the limit for him.
On a personal note, Lamar, this was a life-changing offseason for you. To sign that deal, to know you're going to be here for a long time, what words best describe it?
God did that. God did this. And I'm grateful for it. I'm humble about the situation. And 5 more years. hopefully more.
And then back on the field with Todd as a play caller and a guy you've got to develop that trust level with. Give us a sense of how that process is building.
Coach Todd, the meeting room, I wish you guys could see the meeting rooms. Like, he's full of, like, expressing what he's got going on in his mind. You know, his mind is everywhere, but it's like he wants you to be keyed in at the same time. And we be locked in, you know, trying to see what his thoughts are on the field, you know, with situations throughout the games and practices and stuff like that, because, you know, we go over situations and stuff. And it's like, I love him as a coach right now. You know, I'm grateful for him.
The word he used with us was empower. He's empowering you. He's allowing you to call him with some plays. What's that like?
It's great. You know, I don't, like, last couple weeks, I've been sending him, like, plays and stuff I've been seeing, and he been putting them in practice, and they've been working. So it's like, man, I'm glad he's listening to me, man. So the sky's the limit right now.
Do you have a newfound respect for the challenge of coming up with plays and calling plays?
I'm gonna leave it up to him, but like if I see something I like, I'm gonna send it over to him.
Lastly, Lamar, just when you're in this building and you got this fan base, you're moving your way around town. You've been here for a little while. Does it feel different this year as you guys get set for this season in terms of the excitement for this group and for what you guys may be able to pull off?
The group or the fans?
Well, the fans' excitement for what you guys can do and maybe what you guys feel about what you can do.
I'm always excited for our groups, you know. I feel like the Ravens, man, we always know what we're doing. You know, we always know what players to go get, the players that, you know, bring in the building and stuff like that. But the fans, just the fan base itself, is always exciting for us, you know, and we always want to put a smile on their face and make them happy. And, you know, at the end of the year, goal is always to win the Super Bowl, and hopefully we get it this year.
Always great to see you. Good luck this year. And always looking sharp on the sideline. I don't think any player in the league has got the ice that I'm seeing right now.
I appreciate you, Evan.
Thank you, Evan. Thank you, Lamar. For our radio partners on tonight's simulcast, the Eagles have moved the ball down to the Ravens' 29-yard line with a big third down conversion from Tanner McKee to Johnny King. Tanner McKee hands it off. Rashad Penny will churn his way inside the 24-yard line, setting up another third down. For Lamar Jackson, the impact has been profound as a starter with the Ravens, 45-16, but without him in the lineup, they're 4-8. Last year, the Ravens were averaging 28 points per game when Lamar played. They averaged 17 points per game when he did not play. And he got the big contract. He's got the secure future. And he has the critical role in this offense. And as we had a chance to visit with Todd Monken this week, so impressed with the way Todd Monken thinks about offense and the way he is empowering Lamar Jackson to evolve his game.
Yeah, you look at Lamar. Lamar is so dynamic in what he's done so far in his young career. One of 6 quarterbacks in NFL history to throw for 10,000 yards and have over 4,000 yards rushing already. And he's still so young. And he has so much looking forward to. And I really love what Todd said, Coach Todd said, is that he's given him the opportunity to grow, to take ownership in what he puts into the system. And when he put those plays in, make those plays come alive.
Trey Sermon gives the Eagles a first down on the outer edge of the Grill Mates red zone. Tanner McKee to throw, has some time, back shoulder fade. He's got his man down to the 2-yard line. And that's Tyree Cleveland, and the Eagles will sprint to the line of scrimmage and go no huddle.
And you would really like to see Brandon Stevenson look back more for the ball. He's right there. He's in great positions. He has to be able to look back and make a play on that football.
Tanner McKee hands it off, turning to the 1 and in for the touchdown is Trey Sermon. The extra effort by Sermon puts Philly back in front with under 4 minutes to play in the opening half. And when you let a player named Trey Sermon push his way into the end zone, you can expect a Sermon when you get to the sidelines. Looked like Tavius Robinson was in position but ducked his head and missed the target.
And you couldn't really tell where his knee was at, so they had to call him for a touchdown.
Jake Elliott for the extra point. His kick. is good. And with 3:51 to play now in the first half, Philadelphia back in front, 13-7 on the Ravens Game Day Network. Eagles puts Philadelphia back in front, 13-7, with under 4 minutes to play in the opening half. This year, Lamar Jackson will have arguably the best core of receivers the Ravens have ever put on the field at the same time. It starts with Odell Beckham Jr., Zay Flowers, former Eagle Nelson Aguilar, Rashad Bateman, a first-round pick a couple of years ago, Devin Duvernay, who at times last year was running the #1, gives you a great depth at 5. Rod, the Ravens have had some talented receivers, but they've never had a core that looked like this.
They've never had this collection. You are absolutely right. And Lamar is going to have his pick, let alone talk about how good his tight ends are. You got one of the best tight ends in the world, and Mark Andrews. So you have a slew of players that he can be able to throw the football to, and he's going to have a really nice time out there once the season starts.
Keaton Mitchell is deep, awaiting the kick. Rookie free agent out of East Carolina, had a nice kick return in the first quarter.
You like this guy.
I really do. He's quick. He's terrific out of the backfield. We haven't seen him a lot in the backfield tonight, but he's a good pass receiver. Great in open space and great at finding space. Off the squib. Trouble picking the ball up. But he finds a gap, and there goes Mitchell, still on his feet, and he's taken down at the 28-yard line. Ravens fans, Leidos and the Ravens are partnering to tackle addiction. You can join our team and help by checking in your medicine cabinets and getting rid of unused or expired medicine. To learn more, go to leidos.com/opioids. Want to pause 10 seconds for our radio partners on tonight's simulcast for station identification on the Ravens Game Day Network. No gain for Gus Edwards on a first down carry. Ben Mason will check out of the game. We have not seen Pat Ricard much in training camp. He just got back to practice this week, was practicing some with the offensive line, and we were wondering, is there room for him in this offense? But Todd Monken made it very clear, while the volume of snaps may not be there for Ricard, he is such a valuable player, his value is unchanged to this offense.
And that was refreshing to hear, because normally most coaches in the National Football League don't have the fullbacks anymore. Most of the second tight ends or third tight ends become the fullbacks. But having a guy of his stature, what he's accomplished with this football team, how good a leader he is in the locker room, and how he plays on the football field, that value is still there.
Ravens looking at a 3rd down and 5 with 2:40 left to play in the opening half. They trail by 6. Josh Johnson has gone the whole first half. Fires to the far sideline, broken up. He was looking for Tariq Black. Zach McPherson.
Yeah, as soon as
check that Kelsey Ringo with the defense for Philly.
As soon as the receiver puts his left foot in the ground, the ball should come out. As soon as Black puts his left foot, the ball should be coming out. He held on to it a little bit too long and allowed the DB to come back and make the breakup.
So Jordan Stout is back on to punt with 2.5 minutes left to play in the half. Greg Ward waits for Philly. Stout hangs this one into the night sky, and a fair catch made by Ward at the 23. So we got a glimpse of the O's on the edge tonight, and David Ajabo and Odafe Owe. What we saw was a lot of athleticism, a lot of aggression, and a big learning curve. I won't say so much Owe, but Ajabo learned that while it's important to have a high motor, you can't just go full speed. You have to go under control speed.
Yeah, he dipped it in a couple times, let the quarterback, let Mariota get outside of him. But he's going to learn as more reps he gets. He's going to keep understanding what he can and cannot do inside of each defense.
And he's going to be a player. That kid has so much talent, so much athleticism, and so much drive. Eagles will run the ball to start this drive with 2:20 left to go. And that might take us down to the 2-minute warning after a gain of about 2. Nick Sirianni, the third-year head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, will be content to let the clock wind to the 2-minute warning. took his team to the Super Bowl a year ago, was a play away from hoisting a second Lombardi trophy in Philadelphia, as we have here in Baltimore. We head to the 2-minute warning with the Eagles in front of John Harbaugh's Ravens 13-7. John Harbaugh, former Eagles assistant. 2 minutes left in the first half on the Ravens Game Day Network.
NFL Plus brings you the NFL preseason.
He is incredible.
Rookie debuts and a first look at every team.
Caught by Kelsey, touchdown!
Never miss a play with NFL Plus. Sign up today.
Youth football is all about swag, style, fun. 3 things Peyton has none of.
Something new. You want something fresh. You want something sweet.
What is that?
Looking for the best. You want something new.
2 minutes left to play. First half, M&T Bank Stadium in the preseason opener. Jerry Sandusky, Rod Woodson with you on a hot, muggy Baltimore night with the Ravens trailing Philadelphia 13-7. So, Rod, for Mike Macdonald, big opportunity to see which of his young defensive players can make a play here, try to get the ball back to the offense before time expires on the half.
And that's what it is. You want to find the depth on your football team when one of your starters go down somewhere in the season, because it's going to happen. Who can you put in and have that confidence that they're going to do the right thing throughout a game?
Tanner McKee at quarterback for Philadelphia. Blitz pressure coming. McKee's pass is off the hands of his intended target, Cleveland, and incomplete at the 30-yard line. It stops the clock with 1:57. In the regular season, this is one of my favorite parts of a game. The final 2 minutes. You look at the timeouts, you look at the situation. Every call has so much weight. The impact in the standings, every play becomes big. You've got to learn that as a player.
Absolutely, and this is when coaches get gray hairs. Late in the 2 minutes and a half and into the game.
Not so much in August, but definitely September through February. The key with time, pass complete to the 30, and taken down inbounds. Dan Arnold, and the Eagles will have to use their timeout. It'll be the Ravens who use the timeout. Since Arnold will stop shy of the sticks, the Ravens will use their first timeout and see if they can't get a stop here on 3rd down to get the ball back to Josh Johnson to try to take the lead at the end of the half. These are the coaching situations John Harbaugh loves. You practice this every day in training camp.
And Philly's keeping their offense out there, so you got to think that they're going to go for a hard count, try to get them to jump off sides. So it's imperative that everybody on the defense is talking to each other. Stay on side, do not listen to the count.
Because I don't care who your data analyst is, there's no way in a regular season game you go for it here.
Right, yeah. I would think not.
Unless you're the Chargers. They're the ones who go wide outside the book more than any other team. McKee with a hard count, can't draw the Ravens off. Now he comes up under center, and the Eagles will take their final timeout to avoid a penalty. So Mike Macdonald's defense shows poise.
Absolutely.
In a situation you knew that the Eagles were going to try to draw them off. Still no sign of the punt team, though they are gathered on the far sideline. Mike Macdonald sees the Eagles offense staying on the field. And Tanner McKee is out of timeouts.
And they're going to go for it. At least line up in the formation.
I'm still leaning in the direction that they're going to try to draw the Ravens off and take the penalty and then punt. But McKee sets in the gun on 4th down and a long one. McKee of the play fake. Finds Ward wide open across the 40, and Ward will step out of bounds at midfield with great play execution. Though Ward comes up limping after he moves the chains on 4th and 1.
Yeah, that was Seymour. He has to go with this guy. It was man-to-man. They ran that cut boot. It's like what we call it when you go behind the line of scrimmage. He has to keep going. He cannot be behind the receiver and allow him to get that first down.
On 1st down from midfield, McKee fires to the far sideline, incomplete. Brandon Stevens had the coverage. The incompletion stops the clock with 1:38 left in the half. The Ravens have 2 timeouts. If they can get Philly out with 2 more incompletions here, you might use one of those timeouts to give Josh Johnson a little time. But a first down, that will be Philly the rest of the way in the first half. McKee from the gun. Ravens rush 5. His pass is complete, inbounds. Cleveland comes down with a reception, and Philadelphia will be looking at a 3rd down and 4. Philly in the opening half 6 of 11 on 3rd down. Tanner McKee wants to throw on 3rd down. Has time. His pass is incomplete. His target fell down at the 30-yard line. No flag forthcoming.
I'm glad the ref didn't throw the flag. It looked like he was getting ready to.
Both the receiver and the defender tangled feet while looking at the ball. No foul.
Jaden Hazelwood was the target. He got tangled up.
Yeah, they just tangled their feet.
With Jeremy Lucien, a rookie out of Vanderbilt for the Ravens. And now the punt team comes out with 1:15 left in the half. James Prochet will await inside the 10. Josh Johnson will have 2 timeouts to work with. To see if he can't perhaps at least get Justin Tucker in position for late half points. Prochet is going to take the fair catch at the 11-yard line. One of the few job positions that is up for grabs this season for the Ravens this preseason, left guard. And we have seen the veteran John Simpson in his 4th year, a former member of the Las Vegas Raiders, and the 6th-round draft pick Salah. His full name is Malasala Amave Lau. Fortunately, he tells everybody go by Salah.
Salah's a lot easier.
Salah's a whole lot easier. He's not easy to get by. He's a gigantic young man, great athlete. And he's at left guard right now as Josh Johnson will operate inside handoff. Gus Edwards weaves his way to the 16-yard line.
And this is a really good exercise for the Ravens offense, because you go through this in your practices, but having a game day experience is what every coach needs and wants from his team.
Clock is winding, under 50 seconds. Josh Johnson checked down to Gus Edwards. Edwards trying to get to the sideline. He won't get there. He's taken down with a first down at the 24-yard line. Now the Ravens will take a timeout with 40 seconds left in the half. They're trying to get Justin Tucker in position for a long field goal try. Talking about that left guard battle, Rod, tell me what you see from Salah at left guard on this play.
I mean, Salah just has great feet. He lunged a little bit with his left hand, but he's big. If you listen to Coach Harbaugh, he's aggressive, but he's smarter than his age, being at that position in the National Football League. Tremendous athlete.
When you mentioned lean, one of the hardest things to teach young linemen is don't lean.
Yes.
They're coming at you. You don't have to lean into them. Josh Johnson, ball at the Ravens 42. Flag is down.
Take
Johnson
a shot.
fires to the far sideline. That'll sail incomplete. He wanted Tyler Wallace. Let's see what John Hussey has to say on this one.
Offside. Defense number 75. 5-yard penalty. First down.
So one of the things the coaches want the players to understand, and what the coaches have to work together as well, is figuring out the math here. You got the ball just shy of your 30-yard line. Your target is the Eagles' 35-yard line. You've got 36 seconds to get there, 1 timeout to work with.
You got to have chunk plays. You have to understand that. So the 5-yard routes are great, but somewhere along the line you got to get a 20-yard or 25-yard route.
Josh Johnson with time, slings it complete but inbounds at the 37-yard line. Tyler Wallace makes the grab. That's a 12-yard gain.
And final charge timeout, Baltimore.
And now the Ravens
30-second timeout.
have to use the sidelines to stop the clock. They're out of timeouts. Ravens fans, this season, SeatGeek is now the official primary ticketing partner of the Baltimore Ravens. Whether you're buying or selling tickets, SeatGeek is the place to do it. SeatGeek, so Ravens fans can fan. All right, Rod, so this is a great chance for Todd Monken to work with his quarterbacks, to work with his offense, so that they understand what, in a spread offense, ideal here, you want to get the ball outside the numbers and get out of bounds with the ball.
Yeah, you want to get out of bounds. If you don't get out of bounds, everybody has to rush up and clock the ball in the ground.
The target is the Eagles 35. There's a completion to Charlie Kohler, and Kohler loses the ball along the sideline. Luckily for him, it trickles out of bounds at the 43. Now there's a young player making a mental mistake.
And a fumble backwards out of bounds.
In a typical situation, you love the second effort, but in a 2-minute drill situation, get out of bounds. Stop the clock. Josh Johnson with 18 seconds left goes down the middle of the field and is broken up, intended for James Prochet. Just a little bit behind him. If you make that play, you have just enough time to get Justin Tucker on. You need 14 seconds to get your kicking team on the field.
Yeah, this is you got to get a big chunk here or work the out of bounds to give an opportunity for Justin to come on the football field.
The coaching point here is all about clock and field awareness, and you must now get the ball out of bounds. You won't have time to get the kicking team on if you're tackled inbounds. Pass complete to Kohler, and Kohler gets out of bounds. You like a kid who makes a mistake and then on the next opportunity corrects the mistake. That puts the ball in Philadelphia territory with 10 seconds left.
Yeah, you got to work the sidelines. There's no time for you to get a 10-yard play and to clock it, so they got to keep working these short out-of-bound plays to keep stopping the clock.
If you get the ball to the Philly 35, you're looking at a 53-yard field goal try. This is great practice for young Ravens and a backup quarterback. Josh Johnson, quick release, slings it, complete to Laquan Treadwell, gets out of bounds at the 40-yard line. 5 seconds left on the clock, but they're going to mark him out of bounds at the 42. From here, it's a 60-yard field goal try. And lo and behold, Justin Tucker is out there to let it rip.
Well, if anybody can do it, we know it's Justin.
A 60-yard field goal try from the NFL record holder. Justin Tucker hit from 66 in Detroit a couple of years ago. We'll have Tyler Ott, his new long snapper, with the snap. Jordan Stout with a hold. A 60-yard field goal try to close out the half. Tucker got the leg into it. It's long enough. It is good. Justin Tucker from 60. And that brings us to halftime. He can sing opera. He can kick from the other county. And he can do impressions. Is there anything he can't do?
But he kicked it like it was a 20-yard kick.
Effortless swing. And he brings the Ravens to a 13-10 deficit. And that wasn't a squeaker. That would have sailed through from 66 again.
That is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
They might change the rules and put him in the Hall before he retires.
No, you can't do that.
The most accurate kicker in NFL history.
Oh, he's crazy. Crazy good.
And in his 12th season, the longest tenured active Raven, he still has the leg strength. 13-10, Philadelphia leads it. We have reached halftime in Baltimore. And Tucker gets us there on the Ravens Game Day Network.
Play is called on offense, special teams also, but your effort inside of that. And even sometimes you're doing it wrong, go full speed. They can correct everything else.
Ajabo. That was Ajabo in the first half.
Absolutely. He jumped inside a couple of times, which he shouldn't have. He did go full speed, and he'll learn from that. And the coaches want to keep seeing the progression from each player.
Take a look at some of the numbers from the first half of this preseason opener. Eagles outgaining the Ravens in the ground game, something that is indicative that this is a new offense for the Ravens. This is not run first anymore.
It is not going to be run first anymore. Everybody in the Ravens nest, they're going to have to get used to that, but it's going to be fun to watch.
And then third down conversion, something Mike McDonald will want his crew to tighten up in the second half, as well as the rest of the preseason games, because once you get to September, that becomes a huge number. For Todd Monken, it's the first chance for him to see this offense in a game setting. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of teaching points. What jumps out at you?
Well, I love where he's wanting every aspect of the offense to work and to click. You want all the young players to make plays. You want those skilled guys to get the ball in their hands to make plays, because he knows how special the group that he does have.
All right, Ravens will have the ball first here in the second half. Keaton Mitchell will have another chance to flash some of his skills in the special teams. He's a young man who's turned some heads in training camp. He knows to find a roster spot, he's going to have to show he is special in more than just being a running back. Mitchell will field this one. No, he'll just let it go to the back of the end zone for a touchback. Good decision by the rookie. We head down to the field and Evan Washburn.
Jared just caught up with John Harbaugh coming out of the locker room, and top of his mind was more physicality defensively, especially against the run. Allowing 100 yards on the ground, even with some of your key guys not playing in this game, is just not the way that they do things defensively, obviously, here in Baltimore. Offensively, more production on first down, he feels like is going to allow them to extend drives. And as we can see right now, this is Tyler Huntley's half quarter, but this is an important piece, again, to that battle for the backup spot.
Tyler Huntley taking over the offense. He'll hand it off on first down, and the Ravens will only get about 2 yards, with Melvin Gordon getting his first touch as a Raven. Tyler Huntley.
Melvin Gordon is thicker than I thought he was. I thought he was a thin, little thinner, a little more wiry, but he's a thicker running back.
6'1", 215 in his 9th year out of Wisconsin. A two-time Pro Bowler. Finished last season on the Chiefs practice squad. Didn't get any game action, but he did pick up a Super Bowl ring. Tyler Huntley will throw. Lofts it, he's got a man wide open. Vokalek, the tight end, makes the grab and tumbles into Philadelphia territory with a big first down. A gain of 23.
Really good throw by Tyler Huntley. Sees the defender on the low hip, throws it to the upfield shoulder. Easy throw and catch.
And that's the first catch for Travis Vokalek, a rookie out of Nebraska. Comes from a football family. His dad was an assistant coach with the Cornhuskers. His uncle Terry Allen, former head coach at Kansas and Missouri State. Here's Melvin Gordon in the passing game, spinning his way forward and getting all the way down to the 41-yard line.
Yeah, you see tight end runs a rail route, kind of act like he's going to the flat, then he takes it up on the sideline. That's a perfect thrown ball by Huntley.
And it's indicative of this Todd Monken offense. If you saw where the Ravens players, they were all spread out across the field. This is a very much spread the defense out and force them to make choices in space. 2nd down and 1. Give us to Melvin Gordon, trying to find a hole, picking his way along the line, and he'll be stacked up for no gain. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
But Huntley's done a great job of getting rid of the football early in the down, allow their skilled players to touch the football in space and make plays.
Took over the offense last year when Lamar went down late in the season. He'll give it to Melvin Gordon straight ahead, squirts through the hole and tumbles inside the 35 to the 33, and that's good for a Ravens first down.
Yeah, we knew Melvin, watching Melvin Gordon when he was at Wisconsin, knowing that he came in the league, he had that top end speed, but he's one of those players who's had a bunch of time, a bunch of reps. You know what you're going to get with him. He's a steady guy. He's a guy that's going to be good in the locker room, and he's going to be good for you on the football field.
And it seems like there might be a good fit with this Monken offense, which is zone blocking up front, which is one cut, which is what he seems to like to do.
And that's his best trait, finding the hole and taking off with it.
Huntley's pass will go incomplete to Josh Prosay. We head down to the field. Evan checking in with more on Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, guys, if you talk to Melvin Gordon, the guy he looked up to was Adrian Peterson. He modeled his game after him. He does have a similar body type. Obviously, that's a future Hall of Famer. But he also added that he's shared carries for most of his career. So despite where he is in his career, the amount of years in at that position, he still feels like he's somewhat fresh.
5 years with the Chargers, 2.5 years in Denver. Had a fumble issue last year that cost him a job with the Broncos. Tyler Huntley escapes and darts his way forward to the 23-yard line. That should be good for a first down.
And that's what the athletic ability that Tyler gives you, of taking those unscheduled plays, those broken down plays, and making runs like this with his feet.
9-yard scramble. Back to the ground game, and there is the rookie, Keaton Mitchell. And Mitchell will move the chains, and the Ravens will have a new set of downs on the opening drive of the third quarter. Mitchell will stay in the backfield as John Harbaugh gets a chance to look at this rookie free agent out of East Carolina. He's the son of former Raven Anthony Mitchell, member of the Super Bowl 35 team.
That's Anthony Mitchell's son?
That's his son, your teammate.
I did not know that.
There you have it. And that time Mitchell would know where to go.
Well, he's faster than his dad.
And that's a good thing for his career aspirations. Mitchell will check out. Melvin Gordon will check in. And look, if you can develop that kind of difference in the backfield. Melvin Gordon, a big body, one cut downhill runner. Mitchell, J.K. Dobbins, much quicker, shiftier runners, more explosive. You can keep a defense on its heels. Tyler Huntley on second down. Looking to throw. Extending the play. Uh-oh, he's limping, and he's going to have to hit the turf at the 28-yard line. He reaches for his back of his right leg. It looked like Tyler Huntley may have come up with a hamstring. Take a look, Rod. It looks like he starts to limp as he escapes.
Yeah, it looked like there was the right leg that he grabbed when he came out of it.
Yep, right there. You can see that is not his usual stride. He's staying in the game.
Yeah, and that's something that you don't want to see from your guys on the field. But hopefully, with just a little stinger, you can get through it.
3rd and 6. Pass is complete. Sean Ryan will dive to the 10-yard line with a first down. You know, it's easy to dismiss a preseason game as not counting, but if you're a guy like Sean Ryan, a rookie free agent, this is Disney World. This is your life's dreams, the chance to try to make an NFL roster.
Absolutely. And Huntley's doing a really good job of dispersing the football, looking it to the right side, coming back to the backside for that nice easy catch.
Yeah, the spacing of the Todd Monken offense.
And the quarterbacks have to make that decision. Whoever's in there have to make those decisions of who they're going to go to the football with and make those reads fast.
Ryan, the rookie free agent out of Rutgers, has the Ravens deep in the Grill Mates red zone, looking at a 2nd and goal from the 10. Huntley fires back shoulder. It is caught. Tyler Wallace, touchdown Ravens.
That was a great catch by Wallace. All hands, balls down and outside. Can I say it's the gloves?
You can.
I think he would argue with that.
Tyler Wallace only has 5 career receptions in his first couple of seasons with the Ravens, but he has the 2nd touchdown of the night for the Ravens, and he puts the Ravens back in front.
That is an awesome catch.
Tyler Huntley puts together a strong drive here in the third quarter. 13 plays, 75 yards, and Justin Tucker caps it. 17-13, Ravens in front of Philly. Tyler Huntley 4 of 5 on this drive as he gets the Ravens back to the end zone and back in the lead. It's the Ravens by 4, third quarter on the Ravens Game Day Network. Tylan Wallace with a 10-yard touchdown grab on the back shoulder dart.
Awesome catch. Ball down and outside. Pivots all the way around and keeps control of it going out of bounds.
And the Geico scoring drive, 13 plays, 75 yards, 6 minutes even comes off the clock. Tylan Wallace with a 10-yard touchdown catch from Tyler Huntley to cap it. A very different look, but Huntley going to the exercise bike as Dr. Leanne Curl takes a look, because on that one scramble it looked like he was grabbing for either his right hamstring or something along the outer edge of his leg. So I don't know if we will see any more of Tyler Huntley. I would think not. But time will tell. Jordan Stout will handle the kickoff duties the rest of the way. Trey Sermon is deep, and he will not get a hand on that one. All right, Ravens fans, for each sack made by the Ravens during the 2023 season, Constellation, America's energy choice, will send one group of students to visit the Power Up exhibit at the Maryland Science Center. To learn more, visit BaltimoreRavens.com/sacks for science. 17-13. Ravens in front of the Eagles, third quarter. A very different and more efficient look at that Ravens offense with Tyler Huntley at the helm. It's up to John Harbaugh and Eric DeCosta to make the decisions on who makes which roster spot, but Tyler Huntley making a statement here in the second half that he still believes he deserves that backup quarterback job.
I know it's the same offense, but it looked like a different offense. Huntley was just delivering the football so much faster than Josh was. And I know it's just a couple series, but you got to get a couple games under your belt and let the reps take care of themselves as the preseason goes on. But that was a very good possession for Tyler Huntley.
Tanner McKee continues at quarterback for Philadelphia. Rookie out of Stanford. Go to the ground game on the inside handoff. Trey Sermon with the carry. We head down to the field. Evan Washburn standing by with Ravens Pro Bowl tight end Mark Andrews.
Jerry, thanks. Mark, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Entering year 6, what's different as you head into this season?
Just taking it day by day. Obviously, new offense, but the team is super motivated. We got a hungry team. It's great to see these guys out here competing and doing their thing.
You mentioned hunger and motivation. Is there a unique vibe to what you guys are building early in camp?
Yeah, I think it's special. Just the values that Coach Harbaugh instills in us every day. It's been a focused team. It's been a driven team. I think you can see, just by this first drive and how they're performing.
We talked to Lamar earlier about the offense under Todd Monken. From a tight end's perspective, how have you viewed the difference from obviously what Greg ran to what now Todd's bringing?
They're different. Obviously, Baltimore fans are going to see a little bit of a different offense, but it's going to be versatile. Coach Monken loves what he does, and he's really good at what he does, so it's going to be fun.
The additions of guys like Odell and Nelson and obviously Zay through the draft, how does that change things for you?
It's huge. These guys in training camp are making play after play after play, so defense is going to have to respect that. It's going to open the field up, and we're going to be able to dish it out.
We always see a new layer to your game after an offseason. What was the focus over the course of the last few months back in Arizona?
Just staying strong, staying fast, and just being consistent. Being there for my teammates, trying to be a leader, and I'm going to fight for this team and fight for this year, and do everything we can to get it all.
I mentioned entering year 6. How would you describe the urgency you feel as we're still a few weeks away from week 1, but obviously as you're building towards it?
Like you said, there's unfinished business on our end, and I think the guys that have been here, played for these last 6 years that I've been there, it's a special group, and we know what's at stake, and I think we're taking it to heart and being serious about that.
Last one for you. Lamar, he gets the big deal in the offseason, and now Todd Monken comes in and throws a lot on his plate, a lot on your plate, but what have you seen from Lamar as you guys get ready for this one?
He's just taking this offense and making it his own. He's got a lot of freedom to do what he wants, and he's been flourishing. I'm excited for our first game, for everyone to see Lamar and the way that he plays, the way he commands this offense.
Great to see you, Mark. Thanks, man.
Thank you, Evan.
Appreciate you guys. For our radio listeners on tonight's simulcast, big play on that drive was the sack by Malik Ham, who was a rookie free agent from Baltimore. Played his high school ball at City High, was the star of the Poly City game 5 years ago, and that sack has to be the biggest play he's had in his career since then, because he's doing it in front of his home crowd. What a magical moment for a rookie free agent in his hometown to get a sack in his home stadium.
Where you watch this team flourish as you were a young kid, and now you're playing in the stadium and you're making a sack and making a play like that.
That sack forces the Eagles to punt the ball. James Prochet fields it at the 6. Prochet fumbles the ball, and the Eagles recover at the 14-yard line. A catastrophic mistake for James Prochet, a fourth-year wide receiver who's in the battle for the 6th receiver spot And that is not the way you win the battle. You win it on special teams, but never by turning the ball over.
Now you got to protect the football. He had the ball kind of loosely out there. Somebody knocked it out of his hands, but he has to protect the football.
17-13, Ravens lead at third quarter on the Ravens Game Day Network.
NFL Productions for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this broadcast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of NFL Productions is prohibited.
5:39 left to play third quarter. Eagles backup linebacker injured on the play. The injury card out for him. We just heard from Ravens tight end Mark Andrews. This is the Ravens tight end position. It is deep. Behind Andrews, a pair of fourth-round picks from last year's draft class. Isaiah Likely really broke on the scene. 3 touchdown receptions, had a great connection with Lamar Jackson. Charlie Kolar missed most of last season with a sports hernia injury, but then flashed at the end of the season, getting a little bit of playing time. And now Charlie Kolar learning at the experience of Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews has to be one of the 2 best tight ends in the NFL. So if you are in the meeting room with him every day, you can really accelerate your career.
Yeah, it's your responsibility as a young player to attach yourself to an older veteran, especially an established veteran who knows he can play, to learn what he's been doing to have success in the National Football League, so you can kind of mimic that.
2 years ago, Mark Andrews with a franchise record 107 receptions. Tanner McKee at quarterback from the 14. His pass may have been deflected at the line as it flutters incomplete. The field position for Philadelphia caused by the fumble on the punt return by James Prochet.
But this is a great look at these guys in a hostile situation, in a turnover, coming into the red zone and putting your backs to the wall as a defense. And now the coaches get to see you in this moment. If you can make plays here, it kind of raises their level of respect for you and their trust for you to put them on the field.
McKee operating out of an empty backfield. Ravens rush 4. McKee trying to escape, and he'll be tripped up but stumbles forward inside the 10. Malik Ham helping to finish him off, along with Rashad Nichols. They missed an opportunity for a sack. Would have been the second for Malik Ham. Malik Ham's effort on the last possession, another sack for Science, powered by Constellation. Now John Harbaugh sees his young defense looking at a 3rd down and 3 at the Ravens 7. McKee will hand it off. Sermon stuffed. Trey Sermon, who had a touchdown in the first half, unable to get the ball to the 5-yard line, and the Eagles looking at a 4th down and 2, and they will go for it.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they ran that same type of play where they ran that cut boot, which called when the receiver comes behind the line of scrimmage, or a tight end comes behind the line of scrimmage on a bootleg.
McKee with Sermon in the backfield. Off the read option. McKee fires in the back of the end zone. It is caught, but out of bounds. Tumbling to the turf with the ball was Nada. And that is not a touchdown because he did not have his feet in bounds. The Ravens will take over on down, holding on to a 17-13 lead, third quarter on the Ravens Game Day Network. Ravens still in front after a 4th down stop. Rod, in the regular season, this is the kind of play that changes the direction of a game, if not a season, when you make this kind of stop.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandon Stevens did a great job of staying connected to the receiver, not allowing him to get any space, making it a tight throw, and they really could have called pass interference on offense because they grabbed the backside of his jersey to pull him down.
Tyler Huntley remains in at quarterback, so whatever the leg issue was, it's not enough to get him out of the game. He'll hand it off. And that time, no room for Melvin Gordon. have lost a yard on the play. Second down and 11. Defense foundational as well as special teams in the John Harbaugh era, and the ability to come on the field defensively in the red zone following a turnover and not give up points is a regular season game changer. Huntley's pass is complete to Travis Vokalek, his second grab of the night. The rookie out of Nebraska makes this a doable third down. 3rd and 4.
Huntley's looked really sharp in throwing the football, making the decisions, going through his progressions, finding the open receiver and delivering the football.
We talked about the quarterback battle between Huntley and Josh Johnson. Again, it's not for us to hand out roster spots, but Huntley has looked extremely good. Pass over the middle, complete. Sean Ryan has it at the 20, and he'll lunge forward to the 24-yard line for a Ravens first down.
Well, I like to see Ryan just get vertical. Once he split it and made the catch, just to keep it, make them make the tackle. They can miss the tackle and you can go 80.
Rookie out of Rutgers. Just saw Josh Johnson on the sideline. He was 8 of 12 for 45 yards. Tyler Huntley 6 of 7 for 68 yards and a touchdown. Huntley to throw for the 8th time. And he delivers another strike. Sean Ryan takes it in along the far sideline. A gain of 12 and another Raven first down.
He's making all the right decisions right now. He's making the right reads. He's finding the receiver that's beating the one-on-one coverage.
And keep in mind, he's learning this new offense too.
Absolutely.
This is a big learning curve for him. It's not just Lamar. All the quarterbacks have to take on very different responsibilities. They have to set offensive line protection. They have to read the defense. They have to adjust if the play call does not match to the defense they see. Huntley puffs out of the backfield. Mitchell slides his way forward to the 44-yard line. And this is part of the Todd Monken offense that I've been most impressed with in camp. When you see the ball going to the running back, that is not a check down. See how open Keaton Mitchell is? That's by design. When you spread the defense, the running back becomes a primary receiver, and all of a sudden you're not looking at 3-yard gains, you're looking at 9-yard gains.
Yeah, no, that was a 2-yard toss down the field. It's an extension of the run games. When you start getting the ball to your backs quick like that, it helps your running game.
Keaton Mitchell runs his way out of a crowd and gets to the edge to make a first down at the 45-yard line. Every once in a while, when I tell Rod about a player who I think is popping at training camp, he gives me the raised eyebrow, implying in a very friendly way, what do you know? Come on, I told you I like this kid.
Guy. I like him.
Now he likes him. Now he's got the patina of the gold shadow. This kid has a shot. A guy named Jerry Sandusky says you're good. It means bupkis.
You know a lot of football, Jerry.
Not as much as you, buddy.
Oh, gee, you do.
You've got the wardrobe to prove it. I don't have any gold in my wardrobe. Maybe a tie.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 61. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Play caller's dream here, right? 1st and 5. You do all kind of fun things.
Absolutely.
And this is where I think Todd Monken really wants to see his quarterbacks push the boundaries. Pay attention. What's the situation? What do you see? And then what do you want to make the adjustment to?
And what I love that he's doing, he's giving his players the ownership of the offense.
Quick toss to Melvin Gordon. He's got room, and Gordon hurdles his way for a first down. He gets it down to the 43-yard line, and another fresh set of downs. All right, Rod, Melvin's got some vertical left in his game.
Yeah, Melvin, I've always liked him. I liked him when he was at Wisconsin, liked him since he's been in the league. I know he had that fumbling issue in Denver last year, but this guy is an extremely good player for this football team.
And Melvin Gordon brings us to the end of the third quarter with the Ravens in front of the Eagles, 17-13. 1 quarter left to play on the Ravens Game Day Network. A big shift in the numbers. from the halftime to the end of the third quarter. All of a sudden, the Ravens are catching up in most of the categories, and the big one is the bottom, 17-13. Tyler Huntley in the third quarter, 8 of 9, 88 yards, 1 touchdown. That's eye-opening.
He's looked very crisp being out there.
And he starts the fourth quarter with an incompletion. The pass intended to Sean Ryan, broken up.
And that was his worst pass. That ball was back in his inside shoulder, and it has to be to the outside shoulder going to the sideline.
Start of the fourth quarter at M&T Bank Stadium. The Ravens in front, 17-13. They came into this game, John Harbaugh's team, with an NFL record 23 consecutive preseason wins. Now, it's hard to extrapolate much from the preseason to the regular season, but when you win 23 of these in a row, the one thing it tells you is the Ravens take this seriously. Yeah, Huntley's pass is complete. Ryan has it, darts inside the 30, and tumbles down to the 27-yard line with another Ravens first down. But there is a flag back at midfield.
Personal foul, face mask. Offense number 71. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Second down.
So Saleh, the 6th-round draft pick in the battle for the left guard position, making a costly mistake. That's not just a 10-yard penalty. It negates a 15-yard gain. So that's a 25-yard flip of the field. And he'll hear about that in the meeting room, part of the rookie learning curve.
You got to make sure your hand's not slipping up, and a lot of times you're not trying to get your hands up in the face mask, but when you're pushing the chest, your hands late in the down or late in the game, you start getting a little sweaty. It slips up sometimes. You got to make sure you try to get your hands back off of the offensive line or defensive lineman's face mask.
Oh, and Keaton Mitchell had nowhere to go on that delayed handoff. He's buried in the backfield. He'll lose 5 more. And all of a sudden, the Ravens are looking at 3rd and about 30. And even Todd Monken doesn't have anything in the playbook for 3rd and 30, does he?
Yeah, most people are going to run screens or a delayed draw. Every now and then, just take a shot. You're in the preseason, take a shot down the field, see what happens.
4 receivers spread out. Tyler Huntley rolling to the right, a little screen, but he threw it behind his target, Keaton Mitchell, and the punt team will come on.
I mean, that hit Keith Mitchell in both hands. You got to make that catch. You got to help your quarterback out. It's going to go incomplete against Huntley, but you got to make that catch for your quarterback.
Jordan Stout is on. Stout tonight averaging 48 yards a punt. His long was 52. Zach McPherson is deep for the Eagles. Stout kicked this one above the light stanchions, and McPherson fields it inside the 10, and he's spun out of bounds shy of the 15. The Eagles will have the ball with 13:47 left to play in the ball game. The Ravens lead it 17-13 on the Ravens Game Day Network.
Ball is brought to you by Constellation, the Baltimore Ravens official clean energy provider. By DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the Baltimore Ravens. By M&T Bank, the official bank of your Baltimore Ravens. And by MedStar Health, the official medical team of the Baltimore Ravens and you. MedStar Health, it's how we treat people.
17-13, Ravens in front of Philadelphia. The Eagles with a new quarterback, Ian Book. Second-year quarterback out of Notre Dame in for the Eagles. And Book will go to the ground game, handing it off. Very short gain across the 15 to the 17-yard line. Kenneth Brooks on the carry. The Ravens points tonight coming first in the second quarter. A Josh Johnson touchdown pass to Devin Duvernay. The end of the half, Justin Tucker nailing a 60-yard field goal. And then in the third quarter, Tyler Huntley to Tylan Wallace for a 10-yard touchdown. And that's where the Ravens' 17 points have come from. And tonight's game summary brought to you by Shepherd Pratt. Final quarter in the preseason opener. On second down, Ian Book rolling to the right. Running out of room. It'll be chased out of bounds by Christian Welch. That's great coverage, Rod.
The defense has been playing extremely well, especially on the back end. You got to make the quarterback hold the football. Don't give him any open looks. Everything that Mike McDonald was talking to these guys about, they're starting to do.
Year 2 for Mike McDonald. Former linebacker coach with John Harbaugh. Went to Michigan, become a defensive coordinator with Jim Harbaugh. Came back to Baltimore to become a defensive coordinator for John Harbaugh.
His last name is now Harbaugh?
He's invited at Thanksgiving, I would imagine.
Yes, he is.
Look, the Harbaughs have become the first family of football. And deservedly
yes.
so.
Yes, absolutely.
Ian Book with the scramble will pick up the first down and steps out of bounds at the 28-yard line, so the Eagles get a fresh set of downs. And it doesn't start with John and Jim. It starts with their dad, Jack.
Absolutely, yes.
Won a national championship as a college football coach. John coached under his dad, Jack. And John will tell you the football passion in the family, the most is with the mom, Jackie. They said if you watch a football game with Jack and Jackie, be careful because Jackie's going to be full contact.
You know, Jim was my roommate when I got here
in Baltimore. He was
my roommate in training camp.
He was the quarterback.
He was the quarterback, yes. He was my roommate.
All right, we're going to hear some Jim Harbaugh stories coming up in the fourth quarter.
I'm going to keep those to me and Jim.
Oh, they must be good stories then. Caillou Kelly, 5th-round draft pick out of Stanford, had the coverage on that play. Trying to figure into the secondary equation. Bright young man. Everybody raves about his intelligence. Now it's about turning that intelligence into football IQ at the next level. It's not as easy to do as you might think. Eagles with a 2nd down and 10. Back to the ground game. Kenneth Brooks loses the ball, and the Eagles say, or rather the Ravens say they've recovered, and they have. So the Ravens force their first turnover of the night to even the ledger, and the offense will have great field position when we come back.
First down. Timeout.
Jeremy Lucien comes up with a loose ball, and the Ravens have a chance to extend their lead. 17-13, fourth quarter on the Ravens Game Day Network. The defensive play of the game. A big hit in the middle of the pile. Christian Welch wrenching the ball free.
Yeah, I don't know if that was Welch. It looked like another defender came from the other side, but they got the turnover nevertheless.
Julian Lucien, a rookie free agent, alertly falling on the ball. And that hands the ball back to the Ravens offense. 1st and 10 at the Philadelphia 33. At a new QB as Anthony Brown will take his first snaps of the night. We've seen Josh Johnson in the first half. Tyler Huntley extremely sharp in the 3rd quarter. And now Anthony Brown on to finish it out. Anthony Brown saw big-time game action last year in Week 18 at Cincinnati. He was 19 of 44 for 286 yards. No touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Will operate from under center. Off the play fake. Brown throws complete. And that's Ben Mason for a short gain, maybe a yard or 2. And the key now for the Ravens, run clock, add points, call it a night.
Absolutely. I mean, this is where you can start working on a kind of a 4-minute offensive mentality. When you're up, well, 4 minutes in the game, how can you make the game shorter by running the clock?
And Todd Monken touched on this when we had a chance to visit with him this week. Even though this is a spread passing offense, you still have to be able to run the ball because you need the running game to put leads away into the win column.
Absolutely.
Anthony Brown, good protection. He delivers a strike to Sean Ryan on the far sideline. And Ryan will step out of bounds at the 25-yard line, just shy of the first down. That's a big arm throw.
That's a big arm. It was in a tight window. It probably made John flinch a little bit. He's like, probably no. Oh, okay. All right. They didn't get it.
First-year quarterback out of Oregon. In the shotgun on 3rd down and 2. Brown, quick release, incomplete. He was looking for Shamar Bridges, and the Ravens unable to convert, and that means Justin Tucker is on for his 2nd try. His first try hard to top, a 60-yarder to close out the half. This will be a 43-yard try. And even though kicking is pretty routine for Justin Tucker, there's nothing routine about this special teams trio. For the second time in 3 years, he has a new long snapper. This time it's Tyler Ott. And it's only the second year for a holder, Jordan Stout. Justin Tucker, he hit in the first half from 60, from 43. No surprise it's long enough. Even less surprise, it's good. 10.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and the most accurate kicker in NFL history delivers again. 20-13 Ravens fourth quarter on the Ravens Game Day Network. Preseason or not, Ravens fans are jacked up and excited for 2023. And the Ravens lead it 20-13 with 10.5 minutes left to play in the preseason opener. Justin Tucker capping the Geico scoring drive, a 4-play, 8-yard drive, set up by a defensive forced turnover. And Tucker's second field goal of the evening gives the Ravens a 7-point lead. Most accurate kicker in NFL history. He has converted on just shy of 91% of his kicks. Jordan Stout handling the kickoff duties now, high and overhead. Will be brought out of the end zone 2 yards deep. Trey Sermon tumbles forward to the 28. We head down to the field, and Evan Washburn
here with Odafe Oweh. Odafe, so much talk about the offense, but we just saw this defense make some plays, force a turnover. What stands out to you about what you guys have been working on and building throughout training camp ahead of this season?
Just continual communication, and then, firing on all the same cylinders. It's not a new defense, but, we've added little things to it to just make us a little bit faster and then smoother in terms of, communication when it gets loud and, all the bullets are flying and everything. So, we're doing a good job of implementing them right now, but, we still got a long ways to go.
Yeah, what does year 2 of Mike Macdonald's defense look like with the comfort, continuity, and chemistry that you already have from a year in it?
Yeah, it's very fast, simpler. Obviously in the past years it was very good, but a little bit complex. So this year it's a lot, more simpler. We're flying. He's giving a lot more freedom to some of the edges as well. And obviously the 2 guys inside, Roquan and PQ, we're about to see something crazy with them too.
A lot of change up front in terms of maybe some older guys moving on, no Calais anymore, no Justin
will be
Houston.
enforced.
How does that change things for you?
Automatic.
It's just like a different season for me. More of a leadership role, and more younger guys, lean towards me to see, what I did well in the past seasons, and what I could work on as well. So I'm taking that approach as well. I'm still trying to get better and build on, my legacy and what I can do.
Cool story brewing on the edges with you and Ajabo. Give us the background there, because some people might not know it.
Yeah, obviously that's my brother, man. We met, I want to say I was 16 or 17, Blair Academy. We both weren't playing football at the time. I mean, I was, but I just started. He was young, he was playing soccer, basketball, and he saw me playing, and he was like, I feel like I can do it as well, if not better. So I was like, brother, you got a chance, try it. And then we tried, and the rest is history. So now we got drafted to the same team. We're working together, trying to be the best edges that, Baltimore has seen, and hopefully it's going to happen.
Yeah, give us a sense of those conversations about the work that's required to get there, but what you hope this duo could be.
Yeah, obviously we're working a lot. We worked a lot off-season in terms of our bodies, and then we both were coming off injuries. So we're strengthening our legs, upper body as well. But in terms of, honing our skills, Chuck Smith has helped us as well, technique-wise, and also mentally, where we got to be those type of guys for Baltimore as well.
Odafe, thanks for the time. Good luck this year.
Appreciate you, man. Yes, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen. Odafe Oweh still learning, not just level of football at the NFL, but football in general. He didn't start playing until his junior year in high school.
Yeah, and it's only his 3rd year in the league.
So much upside.
So much upside. And Jabo the same. I mean, just so much upside for those edge rushers that they can grow together and be some of the dominant forces in the league.
Ian Book on 2nd down, extending the play and running out of room, and finally forced out of bounds. And how about David Ajabo being a soccer player. You got Brent Urban, a 6'7" hockey player. David Ajabo, a soccer player.
Well, I'm curious, like, was he that big when he was playing soccer?
I hope not, because if you're a high school soccer player and you see that guy, you just, all right. Look, I already quit hockey. Now I got to quit soccer. These guys are just too big.
I'm just like, he couldn't have been that big. I mean, because he's massive. I just couldn't. He had some great feet being that size, though.
6'4", 255. What position do you play in soccer when you're that size? Anyone you want. Ian Book on a 3rd down. Blitz pressure coming. Book sidesteps, 2 sacks attempt. Still being tracked and finally dropped all the way back at the 28-yard line as Darryl Worley just would not give up.
This relentless pressure.
A loss of 23.
Worley comes off, comes under the defensive end. Robinson just didn't stop. Book just holds on to the ball for some odd reason and takes the sack.
So the Ravens will get the ball back with a little under 8 minutes to play and a chance to extend their 7-point lead. Tylan Wallace signals for the fair catch, but lets the ball take a bounce. And they'll down it at the 27-yard line. Ravens ball when we get back. They're up 20-13, 7:43 to play. Ball game on the Ravens Game Day Network. The offensive play of the game. It happened in the 3rd quarter. Tylan Wallace, a back shoulder bullet from Huntley. And it put the Ravens in the end zone for a 2nd time tonight.
Yeah, Huntley's had a great game, made great decisions throughout the time him being in.
And decisions really the key word for Huntley as the Ravens move forward in this backup quarterback battle. Tyler Huntley has the athleticism, he has the experience, but in the postseason, the decision he made in Cincinnati is one that will hang over his head, and he knows that, and he knows he has the opportunity now to move on from that.
He can't do anything like that in any of these next 2 games in the preseason. As a coach, it's going to spark something in the coaches going, oh, he did it again. And that's what you don't want. If he plays the way he's playing now, he's delivering the football, making great decisions. That's what they're looking for.
4th quarter of tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Toyota. Anthony Brown at quarterback. He has Owen Wright in the backfield, a rookie free agent out of Monmouth. Brown throws outside the numbers, but for a loss of 1 to James Prochet, who was taken down as soon as the ball arrived. So Anthony Brown had a full game of experience last year in the regular season finale in Cincinnati. The Ravens chose to play their backups because they had to turn right around and go back to Cincinnati for the wild card game. It's great experience for Brown. And he's trying to leverage that this summer. He knows he's not going to be a starter, but he'd love to be a backup, if not the Ravens, somewhere in the league. Brown throws decisively, but it's picked off on the far sideline, and it's going in for 6.
He's shown that he was throwing that football not out, that speed cut out. The corner jumped it.
Deion Kane. Check that. Eli Ricks. Eli Ricks with the dangerous picks that could tie this game up at 20. A 31-yard return for a touchdown, and the Eagles will go for 2 to try to regain the lead. So we were just talking about the importance of not making mistakes at quarterback, and Anthony Brown walks himself right into a devastating mistake.
Yeah, and the ball was delivered in a decent spot. It's just when you see the defensive back breaking like that fast, you're better not to deliver the football.
2-point conversion. Book pumps once, throws to the back corner, and it's intercepted. Darius Washington comes down with a pick. The try is no good, and the Ravens hold on to a 1-point lead.
And that was a really good play by Darius Washington. I believe he was on the underneath coverage, and he was on the underneath coverage and came back out and made the play.
Mike McDonald watching that play. All right, eyebrows go up, and the lead holds up. Now Anthony Brown has to show some ability to bounce back. To make a play like that, the great line from Ted Lasso is, you got to be a goldfish. Goldfish have the shortest attention span of any animal.
Yes, they do.
Anthony Brown has to be a goldfish. He could use a little Ted Lasso right now. He's getting T. Martin, but he could use some Ted Lasso. Because when you're in a battle for a backup spot and you make a mistake like that, you know you only have a certain number of plays in game situations.
You're going to get so many reps in these preseason games.
Keaton Mitchell would like to make a play here in the kick return. Got a couple of nice returns, shown a burst. 7:03 left to play. The Ravens trying to put this win away, but the Anthony Brown pick six made this much closer than it needs to be.
He's going to get a great opportunity right here to show his poise.
Head down to the field, check in with Evan Washburn.
One guy with the last name Brown in a Ravens uniform that's having a bit of a better night. Special teams coach Randy Brown. He's been a fixture on that sideline for a long time, and it doesn't get more special than this evening. His son Tyler is a special teams assistant for the Eagles, so dueling sidelines, obviously a dream come true for a father, a coach in football. But on top of that, guys, his daughter Ryan sang the national anthem here tonight. So talking to Randy before the game, you could just see it, smile ear to ear for what he was able to experience. And then his kicker hit a 60-yarder at halftime. So I don't think he can get much better other than getting a win, obviously.
Now, I would say that's the Brown trifecta. And his daughter Ryan did a great job with the national anthem.
She did.
So that's a proud papa. He's proud of his kicker. He's proud of his son. He's proud of his daughter. That's a winning night for Randy Brown. Don't tell Randy Brown preseason doesn't count, because this is the night he'll remember forever. Ravens looking at a 2nd down and 8 after a 2-yard run to start the drive. You look at the consistency that the Ravens special teams and kicking game has produced over the past decade plus. Randy Brown's been a part of it the entire way. Former mayor of a New Jersey township. He knows his way around a conversation, I'll tell you that. Anthony Brown going deep, near side, looking for Sean Ryan. He overthrows him at the Eagle 40-yard line. Well, I'll say this for Anthony Brown. He's not bashful. You come back from a pick six and you're willing to show off your arm strength.
Yeah, I would like to see the ball delivered a little sooner on that last throw. It's a little out and up. As soon as that guy hit the up, it should have been delivered.
I don't know about a couple, maybe. I mean, depending.
We'll get back to Evan in just a moment. 6:13 left to play in the ball game. The Ravens holding to a 1-point lead. Now looking at a 3rd down and 8. The last thing they want to do is give the ball back to the Eagles. Anthony Brown, good protection, throws incomplete. It was almost picked off again. And by the same player nonetheless. Eli Ricks. Anthony might learn to stay away from Eli Ricks the rest of the game.
Yeah, that was a too close play where he made a play, and that was a close one. But he has to find a way to gather himself when he does go back out there to make better decisions in the passing game.
Jordan Stout uncorks another towering punt. Fielded cleanly at the 22-yard line. And taken down at the 25-yard line, Zach McPherson. Well, it's time to play You Pick the Team, presented by MedStar Health. Predict the Ravens' 53-man roster by August 29th, and you can win a pair of tickets to the Ravens' home opener against the Texans with pregame sideline passes and a Mark Andrews autographed jersey. Make your picks now at BaltimoreRavens.com/YouPickTheTeam. In 2 weeks, the end of the game in Tampa, we'll start to take a look at our picks for the team. I think we've gotten some clarity on a couple of issues. It won't be until the coaches really take a look at the tape to see who has the edge in the battle at left guard. We've got to give the nod of the lead to Tyler Huntley at quarterback right now. And in the secondary, a lot of questions continue at the cornerback position. Eagles working the ground game with Kenneth Brooks taken down by Darryl Worley, who had a big sack earlier in the fourth quarter. We approach 5.5 minutes left in this game. The Ravens again having won 23 consecutive preseason games.
And Worley used to be a corner. They moved him to safety. That's a transition that he has to make, which is a different game plan, the cornerback position than the safeties, because now you're looking at an all 22. So it's a little different for him to come out there and take that position.
He might want to spend some time with you since you made that transition here. Box pass complete to his tight end, who sheds a tackle before stumbling out of bounds with a gain of about 11 and an Eagles first down with 5:02 left to play in the ball game. And again, if this is the regular season, look, it's August, kicking back, you're enjoying your, hope you're down at the beach having a great vacation, nothing to sweat. If this is a regular season game, it's ripping down the fingernails time, because you're just sweating out whether the defense can make the play to hold on to the 1-point lead. And that's why coaches want to put their players in these situations in preseason to see who can stand up to the pressure. Malik Ham comes in for the sack but misses. Bach escapes. That'll be taken down right at the line of scrimmage by Josh Ross. Oh, Malik Ham came clean off the edge, had Bach in his crosshairs, but could not finish off the sack.
He was there, he stepped up, and then to step right back out to where that space was opened up.
Puts the Eagles to a 2nd down and 9. We'll credit Bach with a 1-yard gain, so no sack. A book rather, not Bach. Inside handoff, Trey Sermon. Get it out to the 44-yard line. That'll set up a 3rd down and about 4 for Philadelphia.
And you got to also remember that this is for these guys who, yeah, they've been in training camp, but they haven't got that many reps. So, you know, getting 35, 40 reps in the second half in a unit it's going to wear you down a little bit. So you're going to see who's in shape, who's mentally can take that pressure on a consistent basis.
And you see a lot of shoulder pads rising and falling rapidly because they're getting guys sucking some wind right now. Book under pressure, hit, and he escapes again. And he will get down to the 44-yard line, just about back to the line of scrimmage. Darius Washington had him dead to rights, and somehow Ian Book got out of another sack.
He got out of the sack, but on the other side, there was an illegal pick. But that is his best impression of Lamar Jackson.
The Eagles will go for it on 4th and 4 with 2.5 minutes left to play. The defense with a chance at a knockout shot. Book will throw far sideline, incomplete. Darryl Worley had the coverage. And the Ravens defense delivers on 4th down and yields, hands the ball back to the offense to come back onto the field.
Yeah, you had pressure by Sanders coming in. The backup linebacker, make Book throw that ball off his back foot and too high.
2:19 left to play. The Eagles have all 3 of their timeouts and the 2-minute warning. In a regular season game, that's the equivalent of an extra 2 minutes on the clock.
Absolutely, yes.
In a preseason game, possibly not. Here's Keaton Mitchell, gets around the edge. He's to the 35-yard line and shoulders his way forward on a 9-yard run. So the elusive Keaton Mitchell.
He got around there fast.
He's got some jets.
Got a little juice to him.
And some certainty. There's no hesitation in that young man.
I mean, you wish he would have stayed in bounds.
It's a run clock.
And that's something the coaches are talking about.
Anthony Brown hands it to Mitchell. Flag is down. Mitchell sidesteps the tackler. He's to the 20, 10, 5, touchdown. Keaton Mitchell. But a penalty flag is down, and the celebration will be short-lived.
Holding. Offense number 69. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
It negates a 35-yard touchdown run. And Jalen Thomas going to have some splaining to do.
Got to move your feet. Can't reach with your hands thinking that's going to block the defender.
Honestly, I'm a little upset at the offensive lineman because I was looking really good with Keaton Mitchell getting a touchdown there. I'll be showing some scouting chops.
Even though it was brought back.
Even though.
He still made an impression on the coaches.
Look, his acceleration is eye-catching.
Yes.
2:05 left in the game. Off the play fake. Anthony Brown with time slings it high and completes. He was looking for the former Terp, Dante Demas, and that's going to bring us to the 2-minute warning.
This is
the defense forcing the 4th and out. And the offense trying to put this game away with 2 minutes to play on the Ravens Game Day Network.
YouTube TV is the new home of NFL Sunday Ticket.
Oh my goodness!
Being a fan has never been easier. Watch every game, every Sunday with NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV. Sign up for NFL Sunday Ticket now and get $50 off.
Youth football is all about swag, style, fun. 3 things Peyton has none of.
You want something fresh. You want something sweet.
What is that?
You're looking for the best. You want something.
Fourth quarter of tonight's broadcast brought to you by Toyota. 20-19. Ravens lead it. 2 minutes left to play. Ravens looking at a 3rd and 11 with the ball at the Philadelphia 45-yard line. Anthony Brown in at quarterback. The view from the booth brought to you by Goal Vision. Rod, what have you seen from Anthony tonight?
Inconsistency. And that's the biggest thing. He's a young player. He's not making the right reads. And some of the throws have been off target.
And he'll run it here and pick up the first down as he slides down inside the 30-yard line. And Nick Sirianni is not going to go easily into the night as he uses the first of his 3 timeouts, stopping the clock with 1:53 left to play.
It all can be going wrong for you guys today. But the athletic ability.
First timeout, Philadelphia. This will be a 30-second timeout. Will the game operator please set the game clock to 1:56, please? 1:56. Thank you.
Him making a play like that with his feet, not trying to drive the ball in there in the pass in tight windows, but and getting the first down with your feet. Man, it adds to the ability of these athletic quarterbacks in the league today that you can do everything right on defense and still be wrong.
And after throwing a pick 6 earlier in the 4th quarter, Anthony Brown wants nothing more than to get the make good to put the ball in the end zone for the Ravens. First time we've seen an I formation tonight. Keaton Mitchell starts up the middle, bounces to the outside, weaves his way down inside the 25-yard line. And the Eagles will take another timeout, stopping the clock with 1:51.
Second sharp timeout, Philadelphia. This will be a 30-second time.
And again, I want to underscore, as a fan and a viewer, when you see the situation, you might be asking yourself, why is Philadelphia calling a timeout? It's because the coaches want to make sure they are working on the things, the situations that they will face in the regular season. And not just for the players, but the communication from the coaches in the booth, the coaches on the sideline.
Absolutely. This is all preseason's an exercise for everything to get ready for the regular season. So, yes, you do it in practice, but you have to do it in a game tempo. And that always helps out when you get these type of situations, which is a 4-minute situation for the Ravens, but a 2-minute situation for Philly.
Owen Wright with the carry, and Wright is down to the 20-yard line, and that should be enough for a first down.
Third and final charge timeout, Philadelphia. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Going to see where they spot the ball. If he got it to the 20-yard line, it will move the chains. The Eagles have used their final timeout. They're currently marking this just shy of a first down.
I didn't think you just quarterback sneak and get the first down. Game's over.
A first down here ends it.
Instead of being in shotgun, handing the ball off, having the opportunity to get the ball fumbled or stripped.
Anthony Brown's a big kid, 6'1", 217. He has Owen right behind him. Power formation up front. Brown will keep it, pushes the pile forward. Anthony Brown, first down, and the hay's in the barn as the Ravens will win their 24th consecutive preseason game. And Todd Monken saw his offense really come to life here in the second half, especially with Tyler Huntley at the helm.
Huntley did a wonderful job throughout tonight as he was in, making the right decisions, making the right reads. Sometimes when the windows were too tight, he took off with his feet.
And it will be victory formation now. The Eagles cannot stop the clock.